Hey guys, today at the Gumboot garden, we are doing a little experiment. So according to my research, I should be able to take these store-bought black beans, plant them, and grow new bean plants from them. Okay, I know. How else would we get new beans but from old beans? But these are store-bought black beans from our local organic food store. They are meant for eating. They're not meant for planting like you would get at a garden store or from a seed packet. I have moved us inside because it was quite windy outside and I didn't want you to have to listen to the wind blowing on the camera that whole time. So I have our setup all ready to go. I have bought black beans from 2 different bulk stores, which they are originating from 2 different countries. I believe one of them was from like Argentina and the other I think from Peru. Neither were grown in New Zealand, so that is another obstacle we may face. We will plant some of those straight into some seed trays here. Some of them we are going to soak overnight before we then plant them into soil. And the third is going to be to put them in a moist paper towel and close them up into a sandwich bag and let them sprout there before we plant them. My hypothesis is that the ones that are going to grow the best are going to be the ones that we put in the paper towel and grow in a warm area in the sandwich bag before we plant them. That is my thought of the ones that are going to grow the best. So what we'll do is we'll get these all planted in all of our different ways and I'll have them labeled, and once they start to sprout, I'll show you the progress of what's sprouting first and kind of what seedlings we have and seems to have grown the best. And that, once we have that, that's when I'll post this video for you guys to see. So let's get started with doing the easiest ones, which is just to drop a few seeds into this water here. And I've just done like room temperature water, and we're just gonna we're gonna put those aside and we're gonna let them soak overnight. Since I have 2 seed trays that I'm going to fill today straight with seeds, what we'll do is we'll do 12 of each. So I'll do 12 straight into the seed trays, 12 in the soaked water, and 12 in the moist paper towel, and that is for each store-bought bean. So let's see, 12. So store number 1, ready to soak. And then we'll get 12 here. Also, if I see any seeds here that are like half seeds or seem to be damaged, I'm not going to use those in this experiment. I'll put those in. So there we are. First method done. Second method will go and we will do straight into the planting pot. Okay, so for our seed trays, I'm just dropping them in to twice the depth of the size of their seed. All right, so I have those and I'm just going to cover up these seeds with the soil, and I do have some extra soil on the side here I may use. So we eat a ton of beans in our house, especially black beans, and although black beans aren't expensive to buy at the store, I thought it would be quite fun to grow black beans and be able to store them, because it's always a lot of fun to be able to be like, I grew that myself when you're eating something at the dinner table. At least I think it's a lot of fun. We've got those planted. I'm just going to water these in just to get them all nice and moist, so hopefully we can start the growing process. And then I may cover them up with a bit more soil once I do this as well. And I have trays, I'm doing this in the kitchen, so I have trays underneath here where all the excess water is just leaking into, and that's completely fine. I'll touch them up with a bit more soil on top, just some of these low ones. So this is just vegetable mix. It's not the potting mix, which I should be planting them into, but it should be all right. Whoop. And we'll put some more here. I just don't want these big pieces in here. That's why we typically wouldn't want to use vegetable mix or anything like that. We would want to use a potting soil is because everything's broken down nice and small. So that's typically why you would want to do that. Now, method number 2 complete. And on to number 3. I'm just going to take my paper towels and I'm going to dip them in water. I'm not going to leave it dripping. I'm going to squeeze it out so that it has moisture. I'm just lightly squeezing it. It has moisture, but it's not soaking wet. And from there, so I'm folding it back. So I had it folded in half when I did that. I'm just folding it back so it's into 4s. And I'm going to get 12 of these seeds and place them just kind of spread out on this paper towel. All right, so I've put them in our bag and I'm just going to close it up. And then I'll place that on a warm windowsill. And then we'll go store number 2. Oh boy. Oh no, which one's which? Oh, shoot. I must have just put those over there because they're on top. Okay, yes. Oh yeah, I can actually tell the difference in color of these black beans. I know that seems weird. Maybe they're going to grow differently, I'm not sure. But I can actually tell that from this store over here, they're ever so slightly darker and bigger. So I don't know if that means they're a different type of black bean. It'll all be a mystery. Black beans can be determinate or indeterminate. So determinate means that they'll just grow to a certain height and stop growing. Indeterminate means that they will keep on growing more like a vine. So because I'm not sure what these are going to be, I am going to clump them together like bush beans. If they do end up being the indeterminate type of black bean, then I'll just put some bamboo stakes in the ground and hopefully that should be okay. And that's it, guys. That's all I'm doing as far as the planting goes. And I mean, obviously tomorrow I'll put these in some soil as well, the same way that I did with these trays. But besides that, I'll just update you as we go along and we'll see exactly how it works out. It has been just over 15 days since we planted all of our black beans. So I have all 3 of our methods set up here in front of me so we can go over and see exactly how each of them did. So in our set here, these are the black beans that we planted straight into the soil. In this middle set, these are the black beans that we soaked overnight and then planted out. In our third set here, these are the ones that we put in a moist paper towel and have been in a paper baggie on the windowsill for the past 2 weeks. And I have not looked at these yet, so we'll get to kind of see them together. I can, however, see that in the first store, we have the roots like climbing out of the paper towel. And in the second one, I can see that something's growing because it's kind of lifted up the baggie. So let's take a closer look at our first set of beans. Now, in store 1 here, you can see there are quite a few beans growing. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 of the 12 beans have sprouted. Now, some of them look better than others, and some of them, they've all sprouted at different times, but you can see some of them, this one here is looking very strong here. That one's not looking too bad. These guys look good, but they are a little bit smaller. But there are also a couple of them that don't have their true leaves. I don't know if they've rotted off or just didn't grow, but there are a couple like that. Now, if we go to our second store, it's looking a bit sad here, actually. We only have 1, 2, 3 out of 12. Oh, hold on.
There is a fourth one over here that is just starting to pop up out of the soil. So we have 4 out of the 12 that have sprouted. So it looks to me like it works. It can be successful. It's just that some stores are better than others.
Now, as we move on to the second set that we have planted, these are the ones that were soaked overnight and then put into the soil. They're both looking pretty sad, I think.
Nothing sprouted in store 2, but in the first store, we did have at least 3 little seedlings pop up. One of them is doing all right, but the other 2, not so hot. This one actually looks like it tried to grow leaves, but something maybe ate it. But yeah, so overall, right now, it's looking like to just plant them straight out. Excuse me. So right now it's looking like just to plant them straight out into the soil is the better method. But let's check on the third method of planting in those plastic baggies. Okay, we did battle with some rain here, so we had to stop, but let's have a look at the third method of planting in these plastic baggies. So I have not looked at them yet, so this will be the first that I'm seeing them as well. Ooh, they're falling out of the bottom here. So it looks like in store 1, they did start to sprout. I have like some very little seedlings here. Oh, here we go. What's going on in here? And now we're getting to it. We have a few things going on. So this guy here, he is growing. He has a stem and his leaves are starting to come out. And his top is a little bit twisted though. He is the best looking one in here. There are a couple others that are doing something similar. Again, they have really nice root sets, but they're quite twisted and tangled around. Yeah, so there's another one. And then the majority, so I have 3 that look like that. And then the rest of them, let me bring you up close so you can actually see what's going on here. And the majority of them are just kind of opened beans or broken up beans with little tiny sprouts and not much going on really. So that's store 1.
All right, let's have a look at store number 2 and see how it's going there. So this is looking quite the same as store 1 actually. Yeah, let me give you a close-up view so you can see exactly what's going on.
So this is store 2 here. The roots are so good, like the roots are growing really nicely on all these plants, but the actual stems are all twisted up. So that's quite a bummer. We do have one guy, he decided to grow. But overall, it's not great.
Overall, I'd say the best method that we used was to just plant directly into the soil. And that is the easiest as well. You don't have to mess around with making sure that you're soaking the beans, but not forgetting about them. You don't have to worry about the paper towel staying moist or it always being on a sunny windowsill. So if given the choice again, I would just plant directly into the soil. I can't say that's the best method always, but that's the method that I'll continue to use. Now, as you can see, you can definitely grow beans from store-bought beans. There's no doubt about that. We did have some germination. However, the germination rates were not great. So if you plan on doing this, you may want to plant way more black bean seeds than you intend on having plants in your garden. I know that I personally will be planting a whole lot more of these black bean seeds in hopes that I can get a full crop of them into my garden space. And I'll keep you updated on exactly how they're all growing and how many beans we get from them as well. But that's all from me today at the Gumboot Garden. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.